Hi, I'm Christine Schiavone, and our show is Spiritual Exploration. Tonight, we're going to start a 3-part series that is going to be about dreams. The first part, which is tonight, will be Dreams Are Our Best Friends. In the coming months, we are going to be talking about, wait a minute, now where are we? I have to find it now. The second part is going to be mainly about your book and what the contents of the book, Lavender, and which we have a copy in there. We can put it up on the screen. And we are going to do a third show, which will be about the paranormal, dreams and the paranormal.
And spirituality.
And spirituality. Right. So dreams seem to encompass an awful lot about our life. And before we go on, I would like to introduce everyone to my guest, Judy B. Gardiner. And she has written this book. Look at that. Big. It's going to take me all summer to read this book. Anyway, so, and this book is called Lavender, an Entwined Adventure in Science and Spirit. Now, you say that dreams are our best friends. I've never really heard that expression before. But what would that mean? How are dreams our best friends? They tell us things?
Well, they tell us really just about everything we need to know. Mm-hmm. And I never realized how important they were until I started to really look at my own dreams. I had been in many corporate jobs for over 25 years. And then I I retired my corporate briefcase, and I decided to take a look inside, and I began recording my dreams. So in 1992, I started to see that there was a relationship to my family matrix and all of my other relationships in life, that I kept repeating the same patterns over and over again. And I couldn't really understand why. So I did a real self-exploration. And in 1994, I had a dream where I had gone over to the other side.
Really? Wow.
And there was a friend in that dream who had passed over. And he told me that he was working on a breakthrough for mankind.
Whoa.
And I thought, woo, I never had a dream like that.
Yeah.
And he said it was the optic nerve. So I didn't know about the optic nerve other than it's attached to the brain. Uh-huh. And I was illustrating my dreams at the time. I just drew like a little eye with a squiggle coming out. That was supposed to be the nerve, right? Uh-huh. And then that led to a whole avalanche of dream symbols about the optic system, about the retina and the cornea and the lens and the hypothalamus and, all kinds of subject matter that I had not studied. And then after the visual system, then I had just a whole slew of dreams about light. And there was one dream where I was being blinded by headlights from a car.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, well, what must this mean? I'm being blinded by the light, but that can have so many different meanings.
True, yeah.
And then following that, I began to get dreams about minerals and metals, dreams that led me to genetics.
Oh, you're having some amazing dreams there.
I know. That's why I call it an entwined adventure. Uh-huh. Because there was so much science. And then geology came in, and chemistry.
Wow.
And physics, and I was in quantum. And I was just overwhelmed. I really did not know what was happening to me.
And this all has to do with dreams?
This was all dreams.
Wow.
And it was just steady. It was just like this constant flow of science. And I thought, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this, but I guess I'm supposed to do something. Uh-huh. And then I began to get really bizarre images in my dreams about my mother. And
Is your mother
my
passed?
birth mother. Yes, but I started writing this book way before she passed. This is a 15-year endeavor, right? So The one thing, well, there were so many, but the one thing that really got my attention is that I kept having dreams about her floors and how there were potatoes all over her floors. I mean, my mother was a clean freak. I mean, she would never even have a speck of dust on her floors, much less
a bunch of potatoes.
A bunch of potatoes. And then came urine. There was urine on her floors.
Oh, no.
And I thought, well, I mean, you know, I realized that maybe it was something, maybe she had a problem with her bladder or something. Because, you know, you think about this from a personal point of view.
Right.
And then other dreams where there was acid on her carpets. And I thought, what is all this, what is going on here with my mother and her floors? And I came to realize that after much dot connecting and research, that it had to do with Mother Earth. Because the potatoes, all the potassium, potassium comes from the earth. Urine was a tough one, but after a lot of research, that symbolized radioactive waste.
Really?
Uranium, uranium, so dreams do play with words.
Oh, yeah.
And the acid, well, that was also more of the waste. So that was the epiphany, and that took me into thinking that I was having so many dreams that were outside of myself, even though it began with myself and my own mother. I thought, well, maybe this is something that seems like it's global, it's bigger than me. And that's how I came to call it cosmic dreaming. And many people have asked me, well, what's the difference between a cosmic dream and a personal dream? And I will cover this more in our next interview.
Right.
But just very briefly, the personal dream is obviously dreaming about our own life and our relationships and our circumstances and our past and our present and future. And the cosmic dream is telling us how these personal dreams can then morph into dreams beyond the self. Dreams that have more to do with, you know, our higher nature. So that's kind of the way it all began. Now, you asked why our dreams are best friends, because they really perform 4 different functions, in that one is biological, so that they help us. They help us with our health and our bodily needs. They improve our sleep. They help us with our memory. And they can really ward off depression. I mean, I've read a lot, you know, people say that they really can help because sound sleep is very rejuvenative.
Sure.
And they certainly help us with problem solving.
Yeah, that's when they say sleep on it. Let's sleep on it.
Let's sleep on it, exactly. Exactly.
I'll sleep on it.
Right. So then the next function would be psychological, which is what most of us are familiar with, because they explore our inner nature, and they confront our anxieties and our shortcomings. They awaken our potential. And what happened to me was I had no idea that I was going to become so heavily involved in science. They give us insights into ourselves. And I think for many people, they really help us deal with past issues that need to be resolved. And in that way, they're transformational. Because once we can do that, once we can see what we've been doing that's not really in our best interest, we can work with the dream, and we don't really need to spend a fortune of money going to therapists once we understand how to crack the code, which I'll get into later, because we each have our own.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody's eager to find out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we each have our own way of understanding what certain symbols and words and thoughts and feelings are in our own dreams. Another way in which they are our best friends is they help us socially, because, you know, we're all influenced on society and the way we are, where we are in the world, our workplace, our environment. great discoveries have been made through dreams. And think about Paul McCartney. Yesterday came to the song. Yesterday came through a dream.
Wow. Yeah. Yes.
Billy Joel.
Wow.
Was inspired by a dream, and he did Rivers of Dreams.
Wow.
The German chemist Kekule had a dream about a snake biting its own tail, and that is how he came up with the discovery of the benzene ring, which is organic chemistry.
Wow.
Amazing. And Elias Howe was the inventor of the sewing machine, and that also came through a dream.
Wow.
So
there's a lot of inventions must have come through dreams.
A lot, I mean, those are only a few, and then people will have their own discoveries about their own lives or what they're working on. I mean, the dream is really, that's why I say it's our best friend, because it just is, it makes us confront the truth. If we're ready to. We have to be ready and able to. My late partner, Montague Ullman, who was a pioneer of the dream sharing group, had a saying, and his saying was, liars dream, but dreams don't lie. So we really have to, they bring out the honesty in
So
us.
if somebody wakes up one morning and they have remembered a dream really well, they should look to try to understand what the dream is trying to tell them.
Exactly. Exactly. And the dream can be, like a little playful at times, because it can obscure a message, It can, I'll give you an example, is I had a crazy, somebody had a crazy dream that was, where they had little cars running up a wall. They saw little cars running up their wall.
Like little Matchbox cars or something?
Yeah, like little miniature cars. And it took a while for them to understand that somebody was driving them up a wall.
That's a good one.
Right.
That should be very plain to see.
Right.
So did they know who it was then? Who was in the cars?
I mean, it was sure, because they then went back to the dream and they figured out, all of the people that were in the dream and what the issues were. The dream really comes through in 3 stages, and think of it as a 3-act play. The first act is the introduction, so it sets it up, what you're dealing with at the time, it's usually at the time. The second act would be the development of the dream. It's all the people and the action and the dialogue and the images that take place within the dream. And then the third act is the resolution. And when I talk about this, people say, but it doesn't always get resolved. Well, that means that the dream's going to come back, not exactly in the same outfit.
Yeah.
But the dream is going to come back, and
like they'll repeat the dream?
It'll be repeated. It may look different. There may be different characters, but the theme of the dream will be the same.
I only remember one dream. I don't think it was repeated so much as it was continued.
Yeah.
And it was really kind of a offbeat dream, you might say, because it was many years ago, around the Ronald Reagan time, and I dreamt that I was in a limousine with him. We were going from one party to another. And then about a year later, it continued. It didn't repeat. It continued. We continued, and I don't know, why was I out partying with Ronald Reagan? I don't know.
Well, then
I did like him.
Okay. So then I guess you would ask yourself, well, what were the qualities in Ronald Reagan
that I liked?
That you liked.
There were quite a few qualities, of course.
Right.
I thought he was a great president and everything.
Right.
Sure.
So, that could lead you possibly, I mean, it's your dream, but it could lead you to a conclusion that maybe those are the kinds of people
that I like to be around.
That you like to be around.
Very good, excellent.
Positive energy.
Sure. Yeah.
And one thing that people always ask about is how can I remember a dream?
Right, yeah, that's a good question.
That's a really popular question. So the first thing is I have to say is to be open to accepting whatever it is that comes in. And that's a tall order because sometimes we get bad dreams.
Yes.
But people can dream about death, and they're terrified that whoever they dreamt was dying or committing suicide or whatever.
Or gonna die, right?
They're going to die. Now, very often, a death dream can symbolize rebirth.
Yeah, that's true.
That it's just a death of an old
Something
way.
is dying and
Right.
something else is
Something else is beginning, exactly. So I would say in terms of remembering, the first rule is just not to be afraid. And that's to also realize that the dream is your best friend. Now, in terms of remembering, you can state an intention that you really want to remember your dreams. You know, I've heard people say, well, you do it right before you go to sleep.
I was going to ask you that. That's, yeah.
But I think you can do it anytime.
Anytime to just give your subconscious the suggestion.
It's the suggestion that you're just
that you remember your dreams.
That you're kind of, you know, programming yourself to do this.
Because a lot of people swear that they don't dream at all because they don't remember anything.
Well, everybody dreams.
Everybody
like at least
dreams.
an hour every night.
Really?
Yeah. So.
And if they dream for an hour every night, are they having the same dream, or is it a series of dreams, or?
Well, we don't know, except for the ones that we remember. Right?
Okay.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. But another thing is not to try not to turn over in bed. Let's say you wake up and you must have a pencil and a pad next to your bed all the time. And if you can't do that, maybe a tape recorder. Because when you wake up, if you turn over very often, you can lose the dream. So just try to record whatever
it is that's on your mind at that point.
Whatever you remember from the dream.
Right.
It can just be a single image, and people say, well, you know, what's that going to tell me? But you'd be surprised.
Yeah, later on something can come to you.
Something can come to you the very next day, and that one little thread can turn into a whole ball of yarn, where, you know, it's like a kitten chasing a ball of yarn, and the whole thing starts to unravel. Mm-hmm. Another thing that I think is helpful once you really get into recording your dreams is to give the dream a title.
A title? How?
A title. Well, let's say you dream of a pink giraffe.
Pink giraffe.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, it's like whatever image.
Oh, and then you give the title Pink Giraffe.
Whatever image is the most prominent, or if there's a feeling.
Why would somebody dream of a pink giraffe, though, that doesn't exist?
Well, you know, it could be the color pink. That's a very good question.
Yeah.
It could be the color pink, which is, I think, what I see it as in my dreams is spirituality. Ah. A giraffe is, you know, you'd have to sort of start to look at the qualities.
In other words, it's a symbolism.
It's a symbolism that really needs to be explored. Mm-hmm. So on the surface, it looks like absolute fantasy. Mm-hmm. But it's not.
Uh-huh. So now you were talking about the social, the social. I think you didn't get to the spiritual yet, right? Or
yeah, I got off on a tangent. The spiritual, we can call that, I mean, many people call it spiritual, or it can be cosmic or transpersonal or religious. Mm-hmm. I think that is such an important realm because it is that realm of transcendence where it connects us to our deceased loved ones.
Really?
That's where that happens. And it provides a much larger worldview. It puts us more deeply in touch with ourselves and the Creator. So that is it's a significant form of dreaming, and it can overlap with any of the other three. You know, it can overlap with the psychological, the biological, mm-hmm. you know, the social. But when you have a spiritual dream, there are certain earmarks that you will begin to recognize, especially if you're connecting with a deceased loved one.
Well, such as the last time I dreamt of my mother. She's been deceased for now 23 years. And it was around her anniversary that I dreamt. It was also, though, the day that my very, very close friend Frank passed away. And she came in my dream, and she looked absolutely beautiful. She was radiant. She had beautiful makeup on, and her hair was beautiful, beautiful outfit. And I felt that she had come into my dream to give me some kind of consolation because she knew Frank was on the other side with her. I didn't know it yet. And she hugged me and everything, and that was the last time I dreamt of her. But I really felt that she came to me because of that was the hours that Frank had passed.
Well,
and so I really felt that she was there for me because she was trying to comfort me. Right. She knew that I was about to receive some bad news.
Yeah. So you see, I mean, you felt her presence?
Oh, yeah. Do you think our loved ones actually do come to us in our dreams?
Oh, yes.
Yeah?
Absolutely. Without a doubt.
I haven't dreamt of Frank yet, though, actually. I don't know why. It's 17, 18 months that he's gone now.
Yeah, well, sometimes it takes a while for them to transition. And sometimes, they're just sort of, the spirits are getting busy, with their new...
Well, I know that he's busy with some things, but he's also around me, taking care of me. I know he is.
Yes, I mean, and you feel that protection.
Oh, yeah, I do.
And you can't second-guess your intuition.
No, that's true.
You just can't.
The intuition is usually right on.
Yeah, because that's a very emotional... Yeah. And that connects to our heart. That's a much higher frequency vibration than our brain.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
It's really strong, really
very
powerful.
Strong, sure.
So I just recently learned about a sort of starting a new habit where you have a positive reinforcement loop. So like if you're trying to quit smoking, for example, you'll have a cue, and then there comes the routine of actually stopping, and then there's the reward of good health because you have stopped. And I thought, now I haven't tried this, but it came to me that maybe this could work with dreaming as well, because a cue could be, for example, that we see something in waking life, maybe we recognize it from some other time, or we have a feeling about something. It can be a good feeling, it can be a bad feeling. And if we can maybe process that consciously in waking life, then that cue and say that I would like to see this in a dream.
Really?
I would like, well, I mean, I haven't tried it. But I mean, this is just something that came.
Or you could even say, I'd like to see a certain person in a dream or something, so I'd feel like I had a visit or something.
Exactly. And then the second stage then is you get into the routine of developing the habit of dreaming. Because if that happens, let's say you have the cue, you see a person or you see somebody that reminds you of a person that you have positive feelings about, and you say, gee, I'd like to see that person in a dream, and then you get into the habit of recording your dreams. What can happen there, I think, or even part of a dream, what can happen there is that you have, the reward would be the insight, the connection of thinking about it consciously in waking, and then dreaming about it. And sometimes those insights can really be an epiphany.
Well, sure, sometimes you can get answers to questions, sure.
Exactly. So, I mean, it just occurred to me because that's sort of a habit protocol that they use for stopping smoking or drinking or starting a new habit. And I thought, well, you know what, maybe this could work for dreams. Maybe you could start a new habit by just being more aware.
Yeah, or by going to, by making a suggestion to yourself.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. And so, I thought that was an interesting possibility. I have to try it now. But let
us know the next time.
Right. Now there are some curious kinds of dreams that contain a riddle, and they can also offer us a really great insight. And I'll give you one. I had dreamed of my deceased brother, whom I loved dearly, and he was on the top of a building. And I'm walking along, and all of a sudden, he spits on me.
Oh, no. That would be an odd thing.
This is like not my brother. He would never, he would never do this. And then I realized, now this is the hidden message.
Okay.
Our loved ones are only spitting distance away.
Ah.
Isn't that something?
Very good.
Yeah. So they do play games with us.
Yeah, and they have a play on words.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's wordplay. I had, well, there's some mystical dreams that can arouse the intellect and the spirit. And they can help us to get to that cosmic dimension. I had one dream where the Upanishad came into my dream, and I'm thinking, what?
A what?
The Upanishad. I spelled it Ipanashod. And I thought, what? I don't even know what an Upanishad is. I
don't either. I never heard the word
I was thinking
before.
of toothpaste, Ipana.
I remember that, yes. Yes, Bucky Beaver and Ipana, yes, I remember that.
Something like that.
Ain't around anymore.
Thinking, maybe it has to do with toothpaste. Well, then.
What about it?
And then I realized that the Upanishads are mystical teachings about the universal soul.
Really?
The Upanishad.
Now, universal.
The Upanishad.
Explain universal soul.
Well, that's like one mind, and
like God.
You will hear we're all part of God.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
You will hear people talk about the collective unconscious.
Yes.
So this is a collection of Hindu teachings, the Vedas, and the universal soul. That's how it came into my dream, and later became, a major part of my story. That we are all so connected.
Oh, absolutely. It's like God is the brain, and we're all the little molecules that make up that brain.
Exactly.
Yes.
So like little satellites. So let's say I have some other, I call this puzzle and discovery, because these are puzzling dreams. And then, now here's
There's a lot of dreams I'm sure that people would consider puzzling.
Yeah, but it's like the wordplay. I was dreaming about Rockefeller.
You dreamt about Rockefeller? Isn't
It's
it
like I dreamt about Reagan.
and quite a few different celebrities.
Well, those are archetypes, important people that have a positive or a negative effect on us.
Right.
Or maybe just not an effect at all. But anyway, I realized that it was not, because I was so involved in geology at the time, it was not about the industrialist. It was about a rocky fellow. Rocky is in geology. Rocks.
Oh, rocks, yes. So I was a rocky fellow. Meaning what? Like he had rocks in his head or something?
Well, no. It was like it was pointing me. I had a million pointers toward geology, because that's what I was working on and studying the Earth. And so this Rockefeller came